In our work at Classical American Homes, we're constantly thinking of the range of perspectives that we need to consider. And students are some of the most invaluable people in helping us with our ongoing understanding of our sites.
So this week here at Edgewater, we have 4 participants of our William L. Thompson Collections Fellowship Program. This was a very selective application process.
They've either done PhDs, they're working on PhDs, they're working already in museums and institutions that we hold in very high regard. So having them here for a week is extraordinary, right?
Everybody brings a unique perspective to the program, and it's not only looking at these objects, but it's looking at this house and the generations of people who lived and labored here over the past 2 centuries. And it's inspiring to be in dialogue about these sort of topics with the next generation of museum professionals and scholars and art historians.
And we need that fresh energy as we continue to better understand our sites and better understand our collections.
Mr. Ginrette really wanted these houses to be used as learning laboratories for the next generation, and this program allows them to get that experience working with this amazing collection that he assembled.
The thing that most interests me about architectural interiors is the way in which people remake themselves through the things that they collect and they commission. So my interest in Edgewater is looking at the house as a portrait of the people that assembled it over time. So each one of these spaces has its own stories to tell through the painting and the objects and the ways that they're furnished.
My focus or specialty is American art, and continue to be really interested in historic houses as places where art is in situ. You can imagine it in a living environment. I think Dick and Bill were conceiving of this collection as a way of kind of recording not only American history, but the history of this house. And so I think their ethic is a real model for the ways that materials can be preserved into the future.
I think what has been really sort of eye-opening, I guess, or what's been really meaningful for me to be here is to kind of tap into the part of this work that is really human. Dick and Bill's personal effects and you know, the things that they loved about these objects were still here and still so very clear, and that made me a little bit emotional.
That's really, I think honestly, that's probably the biggest thing about this fellowship and the opportunity to be here in the Hudson Valley, on the river, at the actual site while working with the collection, and that's really special. There is something very atmospheric about it. There is the passage of time that happens over years, over decades, over centuries. And I'm a preservationist who really feels that it is palpable when you're in a house and thinking about kind of that feeling of how has the sunlight changed over the years. It does kind of get to the heart of like the emotional aspect of why I love preservation.
This is why the work will never be done, because if we finished and we said, we restored this house, we restored this room, here it is, it's done, it would die. In order to make preservation relevant, it must always be about the future. It must always be absorbing, reinterpreting, and discussing the people who lived here, the work that was done here, and the lives that were lived.